we'll have you discussing and arguing and debating all night long, because tonight we name the football and hurling teams of the championship as selected by the men who are really at the coalface of it all, the managers. We contacted all of the football and hurling managers from the counties involved, and I'm delighted to say we had a fantastic response. Of the 19 hurling managers, 18 replied. It would have been all 19 if we'd had the money to phone Babs Keating, who was abroad, but still a 94% response there. And in football, of the 31 managers, 23 replied, which was a 74% vote. Pretty good, we thought, so thanks to all of them for going to the bother. We've collated all the replies, of course, to come up with the choice of the stars of each code as they have it. Now, we also have our resident experts with us in the studio, Eugene McGee and Tommy Carron, football, and Tomas Mulcahy and Pete Finnerty in hurling, to tell us who they thought stole the show this year. And we'll compare their choices with the ones from the real decision makers, the managers. So, with all that to come, let's begin by remembering the year in hurling. It was the first year of the new backdoor system, and I think it worked. We had some fantastic games in the 97 championship.
Here comes Clare, great shot! And that's it, there's plenty of green grass in front of him. He has to go it alone. Say quick! Save, but nicked in by Michael Cleary. On towards Ford, and the referee sees them. Comes to the net. Walked in towards Gary Lappin. Launching another late attack for Offaly. Can they snatch it late? Here's Billy Dooley. Burying a goal. Dropped in towards DJ Carey, rises up for it, and he's got another! Down it goes, in towards Billy Moore with his first touch, can he score? Hayden Ryan taking it down, Hayden Ryan bearing down on the down goal! Kevin Broderick! Expectation when he gets it. Carries it on, he scores! Trying to get free. The handoff forward for Lahi. Here he comes. Great save. Back out towards Eugene. Back out towards O'Mara. A stop again and it's gone in. Brian O'Mara. Chance for Huggerty. Oh, it's stopped. It comes back out to the Sparrow. Jamesy at the other. What a performance we've seen. And that's a wonderful steal by Ford, and it's over the bar. A couple of players there to help him. Keeping it away there in spite of the bloody nose. A minute to go. Jamesy O'Connor, will this be the winner? It may be.
Yeah, lots of exciting memories there. Tomas and Peter are with us. Peter, good year, an average year, how would you assess it?
Good year for hurling in general. Backdoor helped as well because you're better semi-finals. And Clare went all the way, doing it the hard way, beating Cork, beating Tip, beating Kilkenny, and then beating Tipperary in the final. It was a good year for hurling, yeah.
And Tomas, are you a fan of the backdoor now at this stage?
Yeah, I think it was a great year for hurling, and I mean, initially at the start of the year, people had big jibes about the backdoor system. But what we've seen this year was the new league format starting in March, more games in hurling. Mightn't have been absolutely brilliant games, but what you had was consistency through the summer period of hurling and played at the best time of the year, which is suitable for hurling. Okay, then, well, let's see who was in the final shake-up then. Each manager was asked to submit 15 names. Okay, a goalkeeper, 6 defenders, 2 at midfield and 6 forwards. And we said we'd do our best to accommodate them to positions. We considered any player who received at least 2 votes to be nominated. So let's see who was nominated in hurling. Only 3 names nominated for goalkeeper: Davy Fitzgerald of Clare, Damien Fitzhenry from Wexford and Joe Quaid of Limerick. Now we need 6 defenders. They're going to come from these 18 nominations: Conal Bonner, Davy Clark, Brian Corcoran, Ger Cush,
We had 5 of the Clare defence nominated. Anthony Daly, Liam Doyle. There's Liam Dunn from Wexford, Eugene Furlong and Rod Guiney. Liam Keown, the 2 Lowen brothers from Clare, Stephen McDonough, Shawnee McMahon, who had a great year with the Clare team, Willie O'Connor of Kilkenny, and the tip lads Michael Ryan, Paul Shelley, and finally Brian Wheelahan of Offaly. Only room for 2 at midfield, of course, but there were 7 nominations. Ollie Baker, Liam Burke of Galway, Kieran Carey, Andy Comerford, Tomas Dunn from Tipperary, Adrian Fenlon of Wexford, and Clare newcomer Colin Lynch. In the attack, Kevin Broderick of Galway, DJ Carey of Kilkenny, Charlie Carter, who had such a good year for them as well, Gary Kirby of Limerick, Johnny Lahey from Tip, Rory McCarthy, young Shawnee McGrath, Jamesy O'Connor and Ger O'Loughlin of Clare, Declan Ryan from Tipperary, Noel Sands of Down, and Wexford captain Martin Storey. All right, so they're the nominations. Then let's find out, Pete, your team, because Tomas and Peter actually chose their team, and their nominations were as follows: Davy Fitzgerald in goal, Paul Shelley, Brian Lone and Willie O'Connor in a full back line, Liam Doyle, Shawnee McMahon and Anthony Daly in the half back line, Colin Lynch and Johnny Lahey at midfield, James O'Connor, Declan Ryan and Shawnee McGrath in the half forward line, Charlie Carter, DJ Carey and Ger O'Loughlin in the full forward. Again, I stress, we asked for the managers to give us 6 forwards and 6 defenders. Now then, which positions caused you most angst and pain, Tomas?
I suppose when you look at it and you see the back line was very consistent out through the year. Paul Shelley, Brian Lowe and Willie O'Connor gave very consistent performances. The same with the half back line right up to midfield. From my point of view, and I suppose Peter's as well, up front is where we had most of the problems. DJ Carey has played in maybe 3 or 4 of the forward positions this year. James O'Connor has moved to midfield on occasions. Judd O'Loughlin has moved to full forward on occasions as well. But the find of the year for me was Shawnee McGrath, number 12. His first round game against Clare was top class, and to score 5 points in the day was brilliant. There are a lot more players that you could actually put into that position as forwards or as backs. But what we tried to do was to be consistent. If you had 3 very, very strong centre-backs, to pick the best of the centre-backs that played that year.
But we found the managers chose a lot more. Your find of the year in hurling, Pete?
Find of the year would have to be Colin Lynch for me at midfield for Clare. He was exceptional throughout, and every game that he played for Clare he was brilliant, and especially in the All-Ireland final he gives the winning pass again to Jamesy, and he was a magnificent find. Ollie Baker struggled earlier on in the year to get his form back, and Lynch was a man that really carried Clare at midfield.
Well, let's see then how you compare to the manager's team. This is the manager's selection for '97. The goalkeeper, well, Damien Fitzhenry pushed him close, but Davy Fitzgerald of Clare got the nod from the managers. At right corner back for Tipperary, Paul Shelley. Huge vote for the full-back position, Brian Lowen. Willie O'Connor represented Kilkenny. He's in at number 4. Next up, Stephen McDonough of Limerick. At centre-back, another Clare man, Shawnee McMahon. And making it 4 Clare men so far on the team, at wing-back, Anthony Daly, the Clare captain. Tight vote for midfield. Ollie Baker, man of the match in the All-Ireland final, gets 1 slot. And Clare's a very impressive newcomer, Colin Lynch, gets the other one. 6 so far for Clare. The forwards, well, Johnny Lahey had a great year for Tipperary. He's included. So too is another tip man, Declan Ryan at centre forward. And Jamesy O'Connor, the man who got the winner for Clare in the final and had such an outstanding year, gets the number 12 shirt. Galway's only representative is at number 13, Kevin Broderick. No surprise at full forward, DJ Carey gets that. And the final spot, and making it 8 in all for Clare, is the Sparrow, Ger O'Loughlin. So that's the manager's team: 8 from Clare, 3 from Tipperary, 2 from Kilkenny, 1 each from Galway and Limerick. just doing my sums here, it means that 3 differences from your team and their team. I have to say one omission that surprised me was Liam Doyle of Clare not making it.
Yeah, I was surprised that Liam didn't make it. Liam had an exceptional year and he was inspirational in the second half of the All-Ireland final. And really, the managers have given Ollie Baker an All-Star selection for one performance, and that was the All-Ireland final as well. But Liam Doyle was very consistent throughout the year. Against DJ Carey, when DJ was on a roll, he quieted him very quickly in 20 minutes and DJ had to be changed off him. So I'm surprised at that. And Steve McDonough is generally a cornerback. But we selected our team on the basis of positions.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, we did ask the managers to give us 6 defenders and 6 forwards. So that meant...
That's a discrepancy.
Stop trying to cover your backside now. Shawnee McGrath, your hero, didn't make it.
No, he did not. I must say he was one of the most exciting talents that came on. That's just not because he's from Cork and I'm from Cork myself.
Yeah.
I thought he was very exciting.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him on Croke Park stage. I'm sure the years ahead that we will see him in that atmosphere. But he had a tremendous championship.
A guy who only gets 1 game, it often tells against him.
It does, exactly. You know, and there's a lot of other people there. You had Kevin Broderick in a situation like that as well from Galway. I mean, he'd only 1 game to show his talents, and he's an exceptional player as well. If he had more games, championship-wise, I'm sure Shawnee McGrath would have come to the forefront there.
Okay. Your hurler of the year, you don't know who the manager's chosen. Who would you have chosen as your individual of the year?
Well, I stated previously, I thought Colin Lynch was a tremendous acquisition from Clare. The day he started against Cork, that day, he really went from strength to strength, and his performance in the All-Ireland final was very, very good.
And Pete?
I'd be going for Jamesy. Last time Clare won the All-Ireland final was really their backs that dominated things. This year, their backs were porous enough at times, and their forwards helped them out, and Jamesy had an exceptional year.
Well, you never make managers. You know who the managers chose? They chose Clare fullback Brian Lohan as their player of the championship in hurling. Maybe it just means the managers know nothing and the panellists here know a lot more. I don't know. Lads, thanks very much for that.
Okay.
It's very interesting to see how they compared. 12 out of 15 they got. That's the hurling selection then. Now let's see what the story is in the football. And there was a championship this year which threw up 2 familiar and 2 unfamiliar provincial champions. This was the year of Gaelic football mania. Great colour, huge crowds, a real boom time for the GAA. Perhaps the most exciting series of games involved Kildare and Meath. First we had Martin Lynch's early goal. That set up the Lilies, and it needed a late equaliser from Trevor Giles to earn a replay. In game number 2, Kildare led by 6 points at one stage, then on came Jody.
Jody Devine looking for a score. Jody Devine. Oh, another wonderful effort.
He wasn't selected for the 3rd game, but Meath had another hero, Ollie Murphy.
Up to Ollie Murphy it comes. Tripped, still goes forward, does well to hold his balance, and he's put it in the back of the net.
But it was all so different against Offaly in the Leinster final.
Towards Waterloo. Here's the goal chance. He's got it. What a start for Offaly. Right alone. A goal after 10 minutes.
Yes, from Division 4 to win the Leinster title. Now in Munster, Clare and Cork gave us one of the most dramatic finishes of the whole year.
Martin Daly getting inside. He can shoot. He shoots. A goal for Clare. Incredible.
It was incredible, and Clare went close against Kerry too, but Pa Lade made the difference.
Coming in to take this into an opening. Lade cracking the shot. That is magnificent skill.
Now Mayo looked very good in their Connacht opener against Galway.
Nice ball inside. Here's a glorious chance. And Mayo score.
They beat Leitrim, and then John Mullen was banned from the sideline for the final against Sligo. Sligo did well, but Mayo just had too much.
Outside is Morris Sheridan, and that is going over the bar.
Still another title for them, yet in contrast, we saw great celebrations when Cavan won the Ulster final against Derry.
A chance for Jason Riley. Giving it inside, and a goal for Cavan.
They went mad up there. despite all those celebrations, the dream died against Kerry.
Maurice Fitzgerald's gone out there just trying to get some decent possession into Michael Francis Russell. This could be it. A goal for Kerry.
And Kerry's opponents in the final, Mayo, much better than Offaly.
Steep play from James Nallen, stepping away from the trouble. Nicely ahead for Pat Fallon. Should be a point for the taking here. Good start.
So to the final, Kerry deserved their win, but really the day belonged to just one man.
This time laying it off to Maurice Fitzgerald. Pat Holmes alongside him. He's almost toying with the fullback. That's a beautiful kick. That's superb skill. What a footballer. This is about 14 metres out. Very acute angle. Looking for Kerry's 4th point and his own 2nd. He's injured it well, and he's put it over the bar. That's a brilliant kick by a brilliant footballer.
Yeah, you'd have to fancy his chances of making it. Eugene McGee and Tommy Carr are with us. We'll see how their team compares with the manager's choice. But anyway, let's go and see now who were nominated, first of all, by the managers. Once again, we have 3 men contesting the goalkeeper's position. Peter Burke of Mayo, Paul O'Dowd from Cavan, and Donald O'Keefe of Kerry. We're looking for 6 defenders. These are the names which surfaced. Eamon Breen of Kerry, Gary Coleman of Derry, Paul Curran from Dublin, Davy Dalton, Cathal Daly, Faye Devlin of Tyrone, Darren Fay of Meath, Kieran McKeever of Derry, Kenneth Mortimer from Mayo, Seamus Moynihan, James Nallen, Liam O'Flaherty, Barry O'Shea, Glenn Ryan and Stephen Stack, making sure Kerry have strong representation there. At midfield, 6 were nominated. Niall Buckley, Pat Fallon, Dermot McCabe of Cavan, Kieran McCabe from Tyrone, Dara O'Shea of Kerry and Anthony Tohill from Derry. 16 nominated for the 6 forwards positions. Joe Brawley, Ronan Carlin, Vinnie Claffey, Martin Daly of Clare, Declan Darcy, Leitrim last year, Dublin next year, Maurice Fitzgerald, Sean Grennan, Raymond Gallagher, Trevor Giles, Pa Lade, Dermot McCabe of Cavan, Roy Malone, Dara O'Cineda, Eamon O'Hara, Brendan Riley from Meath and Peter O'Reilly from Cavan. Right, those are the nominations there, and we'll find out how Eugene and Tommy got on with theirs. We can have a look maybe to see at the team they chose first of all, and they chose in their team Peter Burke in goal. Then they had Kenneth Mortimer, a choice at full-back which you can explain in a moment. That was, I think, if we were looking for an authentic regular full-back, Cathal Daly, Seamus Moynihan, Glenn Ryan and Eamon Breen, Niall Buckley and Dermot McCabe at midfield, and then a half-forward line of Pa Lade, Peter Riley, Trevor Giles, Vinnie Claffey, Brendan Riley and Maurice Fitzgerald. Now then, the contentious ones and the more difficult ones for you. Eugene?
Well, first of all, full-backs. There were very few full-backs. There are very few good full-backs around at the moment. Kerry, I think, changed the full-back during the season. Mayo had to change the full-back during the season. Offaly were in trouble all the season at full-back. And, you know, Cavan actually changed the full-back early in the season as well. So it's a poor time for full-backs. We opted for Davy Dalton as the best full-back if we have to name them in positions,
Right.
which they normally play. But the reason we had James Nallen there was we considered James Nallen would be in the top 6 if you just rate the best 6 defenders in the country as a group.
Which is what we were doing, and of course,
Yeah.
Tommy, you were making the point that in a way this is more spread out in hurling. There was no clear outstanding team.
Yeah,
in
well, just,
football.
you know, in comparison to the hurling, there was more teams in contention. And, I mean, winning in All-Ireland, you could pick 10 teams at the beginning of the year and one of them would possibly win it. So from that point of view, there was a natural spread of players, and I think a lot of competition throughout the year at all the various stages, from all the provincial championships right to the semi-finals and to the final.
Right. Well, there's actually, your team differs quite a bit from the managers. I haven't counted them all yet now, I'm just looking at them as we get them. So let's see then who the managers chose as their footballers for 1997. Well, we had a pretty clear choice for goalkeeper. Mayo's Peter Burke getting the nod from the managers. Even more comprehensive at right cornerback, Kenneth Mortimer, who had such an outstanding year. Fullback, who was pretty close. In the end, Darren Fay of Meath got the nod. Another very impressive performer and vote catcher from the managers was Seamus Moynihan of Kerry. Next up, another Kerry man, Liam O'Flaherty, outstanding in the final. 3 centre-backs actually accommodated here. James Nallen of Mayo is in the middle, and a man who polled really well also is Glenn Ryan of Kildare. Absolutely no doubt about midfield. Pat Fallon of Mayo, and he's partnered by Niall Buckley from Kildare. So we go to the attack, and remember, it was the 6 best forwards we were looking for. Palade of Kerry is the first to be chosen. 3 so far for them. Brendan Riley of Meath, who was outstanding earlier in the year. And another Meath man, Trevor Giles. 3 positions to go. Joe Brolly of Derry had an outstanding Ulster Championship. In Leinster, one of the stars was young Offaly full forward Roy Malone. And a unanimous choice in the managers, no surprise for getting this one, Maurice Fitzgerald of Kerry. So 4 for Kerry, 4 for Mayo, 3 for Meath, 2 from Kildare, and 1 each for Derry and Offaly. Yeah, interesting selection, isn't it? Remember, we did ask just for 6 backs, 6 forwards. 5 differences in your team. You didn't include, Darren Fay is included, and Liam Flaherty from Kerry.
Well, my main criteria for picking a player of the year in any position is, did he produce the goods when his county needed them on the day?
Yeah.
And for instance, Dermot McCabe now is not in the manager's team, but he is in our team because in the Ulster final, Dermot McCabe produced the goods. After all, Chapman were trying to win it for the first time in 28 years. A terrible legacy of frustration for them. He was marking Anthony Toll. He won the midfield contest. He scored that day, and he had played well earlier as well. And he didn't do himself justice against Kerry, but on the day that really mattered for County Cavan, he produced the goods. So
but Pat Fallon did it for Mayo, in fairness too.
Well, Pat Fallon didn't do it in the first half of the Ireland final, and when he started to play it was too late.
Yeah, but you just said Dermot McCabe didn't do it in the semi. But I mean, this is what we'll be arguing about.
Yes, but I mean, the crucial match for Cavan this year is to win the Ulster Championship and get out.
Right.
Now, you could go through them all. I mean, there are 5. We have picked 5 players that the managers haven't picked, and vice versa. Obviously, I mean, Roy Malone at full forward. Nobody could really argue with him, but we picked him in position. Yeah. We consider that Brendan Riley was worth the place on the team, and therefore. Well,
Brendan Riley did get a forward position. One other one, Tommy. Joe Brolly is included by the managers.
Yeah, well, I mean, any of those, even the 5 differences there, it was a stroke between. I mean, we discussed them as well. It wasn't that, you know, it was a toss of a coin.
Sure.
But I think that there was sufficient talent there to supersede Joe Brolly. I think he was quite enough in the last game of the Ulster Championship. Up to that, he certainly did contribute hugely. But I think the forwards we've picked, I wouldn't mind sending them out on a day against any team.
Yeah. And in defence then, Liam Flaherty had a mighty game in the All-Ireland, for instance.
Well, he had a mighty game in the All-Ireland final. But up to that, you know, those games he was struggling in. There's no doubt about that. But certainly, again, it was a toss of a coin. But I wouldn't have put him ahead of Glenn Ryan or James Nallen at centre-back. But to include him among the top 6 backs, if we were to do it that way, he possibly would have been included. As Eugene was saying, based on he produced it on the day when Kerry really needed it, and he did.
Okay, it's interesting. And your player of the year, in a word?
I don't think there's any doubt about Maurice
Fitzgerald. Maurice Fitzgerald indeed got the vote from the managers, and he was named as their player of the year in football. I think there'd be no great arguments about Maurice getting that. So those are our teams then, and each of the players, by the way, they'll be delighted to hear they'll be receiving a bag of Sideline View gear, so that'll really give us a bit of cachet with them wearing it. The other person, by the way, winning the Sideline View gear is Jeremy O'Mahony of Dungarvan. He knew Laois lost to Monaghan in last year's ladies football final. These were the runners-up in the quiz, and T-shirts on the way to them. Again, lots of women winning prizes, which is good. That's it then. Next week we'll show you a selection of the goals of the championship in both football and hurling. I'm sure the lads will be wrong again. We'll be looking for your votes for that, okay? But for tonight, from the managers' teams, some very interesting selections and some great talking points too. No question marks at all, though, about our players of the year. Good night.